In this video, I'm going to review the Ninja Blast Max XL Portable Blender. I'll go through the unboxing and review all the features as well as making some juice and smoothies. I'll also do something different that you won't see on most channels, and I'll dive into some of the negative reviews this blender has gotten on Amazon and let you know if I experienced any of those issues. So stick around for the whole video. Let's cut to the chase and jump right into the unboxing. The blender comes fully assembled and it's a nice compact size. I got the navy blue color and there are 6 other colors available to choose from. For size comparison, here's a 16-ounce flask and you can see the Ninja Max is just about the same size without the motor attached to it. To remove the motor part, just twist and the vessel part removes easily. This vessel can fit 22 ounces of liquid and is BPA-free plastic. It has a leak-proof lid with a sip spout and cover. The spout is also leak-proof with a seal that keeps any liquid from spilling out. The cover easily opens with the push of this button and can stay open by pushing the cover slightly more and it locks into place. This makes pouring or drinking from the spout very easy. It has a flexible carrying handle and it's easy to hold. Opening up the top, here's the seal that is a decent thickness. Packed inside the vessel is the power adapter. This is a dedicated power adapter that allows you to charge the base. Here's a fill order diagram, which is handy. It shows that you have to fill up to the minimum liquid line, whether it's water or milk or juice, it has to be up to here. Then you can add fresh fruits followed by leafy greens, and then dry or sticky ingredients like seeds, protein powders, and butters, and lastly, ice or frozen ingredients on top. Following this guideline will help ensure the blender is able to blend all the ingredients properly. Inside the vessel you can see the blades. Now I've had larger Ninja blenders in the past and their blades are super sharp. These do feel pretty sharp and in fact I think I almost cut myself. There's a couple of helpful stickers on the vessel. This sticker shows to shake the vessel when the ingredients are too thick and not blending well, and another sticker that has a QR code that will take you to additional recipes and videos. Here's the base and you can see the rubber gear that connects to the vessel. There's a warning label that shows not to stick your hand in the blender until the blades have fully stopped. This is a good time to point out that this blender does not have a safety mechanism that would prevent it from running if the top was open like most other blenders. This is something to keep in mind, especially if you have kids. You don't want them to stick their teeny little hands in there. There's also a sticker here that shows to charge the unit until the power button is solid green. Here's the charging port and it has a nice silicone seal to keep it clean. Here's a label that shows some of the diagnostics using the front LED lights. For example, if the program light flashes purple, it means the blades are stuck and you'll need to add more liquid or shake to loosen whatever ingredient is causing the blades to get stuck. On the front, there's a power button along with 3 different modes of blending, which I'll show you that in a little bit. You can see the power button is a solid red color right now, which indicates the battery is low, since this is the first time I'm opening it. On the bottom of the base, there is a grip type material to help keep the blender from sliding around. Ninja also provides a set of safety instructions and additional information about the blender. One thing I noticed in the instructions is the part about cleaning the vessel. It says in the instructions that the vessel can be washed in the dishwasher, but it cannot go through the heated drying cycle. I think I saw some other videos on YouTube, not naming any names, that said you can put the vessel in the dishwasher without mentioning the dry cycle part. So just use caution if you're putting this in the dishwasher, because I think most people set their dishwashers to run the clean cycle followed by the dry cycle anyway. It might be best to just hand wash this thing, and I'll show you that later in the video. Also in the box is a quick start guide that shows even more detail on the functions of this little blender. Alright, I'm just going to plug this thing in to get some charge and then I'll start making some juice. Here's what the power button looks like when the blender is plugged into charge. I should also mention that you can't charge this blender and use it at the same time. It has to be unplugged when it's being used. So here I have various different ingredients that people will use to make juice. I have some hard ingredients like carrots, beets, as well as softer ingredients like celery, apple, and cucumber. I'm really interested to see how this does with the beets because it is a tougher root vegetable. First thing is to always fill the vessel with liquid up to the minimum line. I'm just using water and making sure there's enough in there. I'll first blend the carrots. You can see I cut these ingredients into smaller pieces so that it fits in the vessel without issue. I was able to fit 2 carrots into the vessel, and let's close the top. Since carrots are pretty sturdy root vegetables, I think the grind option would work best. Here's what the grind cycle sounds like. It runs for a total of 30 seconds with pauses in between to let the chunks settle to the bottom. Now that it's done, I'm going to pour this out into the strainer so that you can see how much actually comes out before having to open the top. Here's how much was left in the vessel, and I'll pour that into the strainer. Here's how the carrots turned out. It's not bad for a small blender. It was able to grind up the carrots into a fairly small pulp. Alright, now we'll do the 2 stalks of celery that I've cut into small pieces. I'm going to fill this up to the minimum fill line with water and then add the celery pieces. This time I'll use the blend cycle. The blend cycle runs continuously for about 30 seconds and then it stops on its own. Let's take a look at how the celery blended. For the celery, I was able to pour all of the juice and pulp right through the spout to give you an idea how it would look if you were drinking from this. Here you can see the level of pulp and how well this blender blended up the celery. Next, we have a medium-sized cucumber that I peeled and sliced into smaller sections. I'll again fill the vessel with the minimum amount of water and then load the cucumber pieces into the vessel. I'll use the blend option again and let it run all the way through the 30 seconds. The cucumber is like the celery in that the juice and pulp flows completely through the spout. Here's what the pulp content looks like with all the cucumber nicely blended. Next, I'll blend a medium-sized apple. I cut the apple into sections and remove the seeds. I'll use the blend option for this one as well and let it run the entire cycle. Once it completed, I was able to pour most of the pulp and juice out of the spout with only a small amount remaining in the vessel. Here's what the pulp content of the apple looks like. It's all nicely blended. Next, I'll blend 1 medium-sized beet that I peeled and cut into small sections. I'm adding the water up to the fill line and the sections of the beet into the vessel. So for the sake of curiosity, I'll first try the blend cycle to see if the blender can cut through these thick pieces of beet. Well, the blender tried but got stuck, so I'm just going to shake the vessel up a little bit and see if it can free the blade. I'll try the blend option one more time to see if it's able to blend up the beets. Looks like it worked. I'll try to pour the beet through the spout, but as expected, there's some pulp left inside. I did find 1 chunk of beet that the blender couldn't cut up, but the rest blended pretty well. Here's a look at the pulp. I find it impressive that this little blender with a rechargeable battery is able to cut up the beet this well. Next, I'll make a juice out of some leafy greens. I'll follow the fill order and first add some coconut water. I'll add some cut up honeydew melon and blueberries and then top it off with some spinach, followed by some collagen peptide powder. I'll use the shake cycle, and here's what the output looks like. You can see everything is nicely blended. There are no chunks of spinach leaf, everything looks good. This shake is actually very delicious. For the next clip, I'm going to make a banana smoothie. It's a pretty simple recipe where I'll add almond milk up to the fill line. Then I'll add 1 chopped up banana, and finally at the top, I'll add a scoop of this collagen peptide powder. You can also use protein powder or creatine, whichever you prefer. I'll use the smoothie option, and you can see how the blender works with these ingredients. This shake turned out really delicious as well. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for great recipe ideas for shakes or just cooking in general, check out the Famous Foods cooking channel, as there are some awesome recipe videos for a wide range of things. I'll put a link in the corner of this video as well as in the description. For the final example, I'm checking to see if this blender can truly turn ice cubes into snow, which is one of the things that Ninja advertises. I'll fill up the blender with some ice cubes and use the grind option. Right away, the blender blinked purple, indicating the blades are jammed. I had to shake the life out of this thing for it to finally loosen up the blockage. I also had to keep shaking the blender because as it grinded up the ice, the bottom became empty, so it wasn't grinding anything. After about a minute of shaking it like a habibi, I opened it up and lo and behold, the ice cubes turned into snow. So that is a valid claim from Ninja, but it sure does take some effort to get that snow. Now I'll show you how easy it is to clean this thing. I personally prefer the quick clean option, which is to fill the vessel with about 6 ounces of water and then add a drop of dish soap, reattach the vessel to the motor, and then run the blend cycle for a few minutes. This actually cleans the vessel nicely, and all you have to do is rinse out the soap with water. The other way is to hand wash with a sponge and all that. Now, as I mentioned before, Ninja advertises in this quick start pamphlet that you can put the vessel and lid on the top rack of the dishwasher, but that is a bit misleading. I'm not sure why they even state this when the instructions manual, it specifically states that this vessel cannot go through the dry cycle. Ninja really should update this pamphlet to include those added details so folks can prevent damage to the vessel. Now for this next part of the video, I'm going to take a look at some of the negative reviews this blender has received on Amazon, and I'll let you know if I experienced any of these issues. So first up, we have this 1-star review, and I'm not going to read the entire thing, but here are the key points. This person states that they weren't able to get more than 3 uses out of it before it died, and the charger is not a regular USB. Then after 2 weeks, she went to use it and the whole thing was vibrating. Her husband said it smelled like a burnt motor. Some key things to note is that this blender should get you between 10 and 15 uses before it needs to be charged. If you're getting less than that, it could indicate a possible issue with the rechargeable battery and or the motor itself. If you're noticing a lot of issues from the get-go, definitely reach out to Ninja or just return it for a new unit. This person's blender clearly had issues even before she received it, so it could have been faulty from the factory or even a prior return. You never know. As far as the charger not being USB, this is a common complaint about this blender because the prior version of this blender did use a USB charger, so you could plug it anywhere and charge up. The problem with USB chargers and some of these rechargeable devices is that this is definitely a risk if you don't use the correct size charging brick. For example, if you plug it into a USB brick that is used for charging phones, you could be charging at a higher or lower amperage than recommended for this blender. This could cause the battery to fail prematurely or even catch on fire. Having a dedicated charger for this blender was a smart move in the name of safety, but I totally understand the loss of convenience. Alright, let's check out another review. This person stated that the blender is not powerful and is too weak to handle frozen fruit or chunky ingredients. Same as the first reviewer, this review also looks like a defective unit because as you saw in this video, I was able to blend up beets and carrots, which are pretty hard root vegetables. I also did the ice test in which I was able to make snow out of ice, so it is a pretty capable blender. For the next review, this person gave the blender a 1-star review because it is not dishwasher safe. I'm guessing this person put the vessel part in the dishwasher and it ran through the full cycle and most likely damaged the unit. I totally agree with this person simply because in the little pamphlet it literally shows that there are 3 ways to clean the vessel and one of them is the dishwasher. Nowhere on this pamphlet does it state that the dishwasher should be on cold water, and it doesn't state that the vessel should not go through the dry cycle. The only place to find this information, as mentioned earlier, is in the instructions guide, which I'm sure a lot of people don't even read. I think Ninja should have done a better job at letting folks know about the vessel should not be put in the dishwasher. To be honest, if I didn't read the full instructions manual, I probably would have put the vessel in the dishwasher and been in the same shoes as this Amazon reviewer. Finally, for this last negative review, the person states it was bittersweet because they liked the blender but had an accident in which the container or vessel broke. They contacted Ninja and at that time, no replacement parts were available. This review was back from March 2025, so probably around the time this blender was first released. Fortunately, I took a look around and it looks like there are parts now available for this blender, so you could order the vessel or top separately if it breaks. I'll leave a link to the parts replacement website in the description of this video. So those are some of the negative reviews for this blender. I'm not trying to minimize people's experiences with this blender. I think they truly did have issues, and those issues were very much related to faulty motor units or the batteries, and maybe this blender just didn't live up to their expectations. It's totally understandable. From my personal experience using this blender for the last few months, it has made the daily routine of juicing or making shakes so much more easier. This little thing is easy to use and very compact compared to the much larger blenders and juicers. The portability is what really makes this thing stand out. I took it out on one of my fishing trips and it was super easy to use. I added some apples that I had chopped up at home and some blueberries along with some coconut water and made this delicious and healthy drink to give me a boost while out adventuring. Who knew you could make a delicious shake on the side of a creek? You can easily pack this thing in your hiking bag or bring it with you to the office. It does the job of providing enough power to make delicious juice or shakes on the go. As mentioned earlier, there are some key points to watch out for, like if you notice it's not holding charge good enough, definitely reach out to Ninja to get that addressed. I'll say it again, don't put the vessel in the dishwasher as it could damage it. And always use enough liquid to prevent those blades from jamming. If you're looking for an easy to use and easy to clean blender with the option to bring this with you wherever you go, the Ninja Blast Max is definitely a good blender to consider. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.